Guys, this is Dana, and this is episode number 54 of the Ask a Question show, the show in which you ask a question about any type of narcissistic or otherwise abusive or toxic relationship or situation, and I, along with the rest of the community here, will do our very best to help answer it. Our goal is to give you the feedback and the support that you need so that you can move forward in getting all of the clarity, closure, and healing possible. And today's question comes from Jennifer, and Jennifer asks, Dear Dana, do other narcissists have any elements of erotomania? I ask because my last narcissist stalked me relentlessly. He thought I was communicating with him through posts on Facebook about my life to my friends, or photos of myself, or my paintings, etc. He actually thought that all of it had to do with him and that I was sending him messages like this, which I guess is similar to erotomania, except that I'm definitely not famous. Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, so erotomania is a term where you've got one non-famous, like everyday kind of person that tends to be fixated on a celebrity, except they think that the celebrity is in love with them, and so they might be stalking the celebrity. Not in their mind, they're not stalking the celebrity because they think, well, the celebrity's in love with them and that they have feelings for the celebrity, and so that they just need to somehow be together. And so now they're thinking that these different roles that these actors or actresses are playing, or anything that they might mention in a magazine article about a restaurant they went to or a place where they vacationed, is some sort of hidden message to the this person that's obsessed with them. And this is not the case. This is why celebrities get stalked, why they get restraining orders, because they're not doing this. They don't even know this person. Do narcissists normally do stuff like this? I have never heard of that, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. And what you're describing, if he's thinking that you're sending him all of these messages through Facebook or pictures or kind of what have you, and you're not, and if your other friends are thinking like, that's so weird, why is he thinking that, like that's really out of the blue, this describes more like delusional kind of behavior. So especially if it's like a fixed and persistent delusion where he's thinking that you're in love with him because you mentioned California, and that he had mentioned he always wanted to live in California, and so that means that you really do love him, and that kind of stuff that's really far out there. That's not that's not normal. So, he could have both a personality disorder and a mental illness. So those kind of fixed and persistent delusions, that is kind of symptomatic of, schizophrenics have that, schizoaffective, some forms of bipolar have delusions like that. So he could have more than one thing that's going on with him. It could just be a big ego. It could be a weird form of hoovering. I mean, there's lots of different possibilities here. It could be, but generally with hoovering, it tends to be something that's more along the lines of trying to get a response from the victim. So it might be something like, hey, you need to really quit calling my mom. I told you we're over. And then the victim's like, what? I didn't call your mom. They're being accused of taking some sort of action that they didn't take. And it's just designed to get the victim to reopen contact and say, what? I never called your mom, whatever. And then now it's the contact is reopened and now the relationship starts up again. This doesn't sound like it. So I would take this very, very seriously. It's really hard, if not next to impossible, to be rational with an irrational person, whether they are severely personality disordered or if they're in kind of this active stage in their mental illness and they need help. But regardless, you can't necessarily help them with that unless they want help, right? And even still, it's not your responsibility to try to fix this situation. So if he does come around again, if he's, kind of stalking or doing these things, I just call the police right away. I would also encourage you, and then let them know, kind of, this is what's been going on. He's had these kind of fixed delusions that were a couple, that anything that I'm doing is sending messages to him, so that the police can possibly see about getting, if there is a question of mental illness going on, that he can get the help that he needs. If he does come around again, just take this very seriously. You can't be rational with an irrational person. It just doesn't work. So I wouldn't even engage with him to try to set him straight. And I would also encourage you to keep a paper trail. So any like text messages, emails, any things that your friends happen to mention to you, something that you can show, here's kind of what's been going on with him. It's really hard to say kind of what's been going on with him. But okay, and then here's the other thing that I'm concerned about now that I'm saying all of this out loud. There's probably a lot of victims out there that are thinking to themselves, oh no, I have that fear or that paranoia too, that my ex is posting stuff on Facebook or saying things to friends, and I feel like they're hidden messages to me. That does not mean that you're mentally ill. There's a big difference there. So a lot of times manipulative people will do things like that. They will post things on Facebook or social media that are kind of these cloaked messages, and it's just to mess with the victim. So they might be doing something, and it's hard to separate it all because none of it makes sense, and it's not supposed to. It's supposed to kind of contribute to this ongoing confusion, because these kinds of people just bring a lot of confusion about whenever they're present, because everything about them, you're never dealing with 100% truth, so it's always kind of just squirrely behaviors, squirrely stuff like this. But it's not uncommon for narcissists to post something on Facebook where they talk about having a nice dinner, and then they might mention like your favorite type of wine, knowing that you're maybe still following them on Facebook, or that they're hoping that it'll get back to you. That kind of stuff. And it really messes with victims' heads. They tend to feel really paranoid. They tend to wonder, is it me? Is it him? Am I reading way too much into this? Is it a coincidence? I don't know. This is why I really encourage everybody to like unfollow these people, unfollow and block. That way you're not adding to the stress of wondering, are they trying to send me these weird messages? Because a lot of times they do. And even when they're in a relationship with somebody, if you notice, it's called vague booking, right? Where people are posting these kind of bizarre, either overly specific or overly vague messages that just seem out of the ordinary. And then it almost seems like they're trying to talk to somebody, but you can't quite prove it. A lot of times that's because they have a different relationship going on, and that they really are sending hidden messages to this other person. So at the end of the day, if you feel like something's off, then something's off. And you don't need to have like rock solid proof, because you probably never will with a highly manipulative person. It's enough to end a relationship, or at least to way back up from it if you're having confusion, because confusion isn't present in normal relationships. And if it ever does surface in normal relationships, it's cleared up within a matter of minutes. It's not a long lasting pattern of, is it him? Is it me? Kind of what's going on. So I hope that clears that up a little bit, and just stay safe. Just definitely stay safe with this. Err on the side of caution. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. I would encourage you to keep Mace with you. Just be safe. So, because that can be really scary, and that kind of stalking behavior can definitely escalate. So that's what I got for you. I'll be curious to see what everybody else has to say. And as always, lots of love to you guys. You're not alone. You're not crazy, and you really can heal from this. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.